Tonight, history is being rewritten. In a world where alliances have long seemed set in stone, a dramatic new chapter is unfolding before our eyes. The post-Cold War order is shaking as two EU nations, Hungary and Austria, prepare to join BRICS. This move, once unthinkable, is now a reality, sending shockwaves through the corridors of power in Brussels, Washington, and beyond. The lines between East and West, once clear and rigid, are now blurred and shifting. The old boundaries that defined global politics are dissolving, replaced by new and unpredictable alliances. This is more than a headline. It's a seismic shift in global power, signaling the rise of a multipolar world. The balance of influence is tilting, as emerging economies and established powers compete for dominance and relevance. Hungary and Austria's move challenges the transatlantic partnership that has defined Europe for decades. Their decision raises questions about the future of European unity and the strength of old alliances. It's a story of ambition, frustration, and a bold gamble for strategic autonomy. Leaders in Budapest and Vienna are betting on a new path, hoping to secure greater independence and influence in a rapidly changing world. These nations seek new markets, partners, and a stronger voice on the world stage. By aligning with BRICS, they hope to unlock fresh economic opportunities and diversify their diplomatic ties beyond the traditional Western sphere. Years of tension and economic pressure have led to this rejection of the status quo. Rising inflation, energy shortages, and public discontent have pushed leaders to reconsider their place in the global order. The world is watching, uncertain of what this realignment means for peace and stability. Allies and rivals alike are scrambling to understand the implications, as citizens everywhere wonder how these changes will affect their daily lives. The global chessboard is being reset, and the old rules no longer apply. In this new era, every move counts, and the outcome is far from certain. The Unthinkable Alliance is just the beginning of a much larger transformation. To truly grasp the magnitude of this global shift, we first need to understand the two major players at its heart: the European Union and BRICS. These blocs represent not just different regions, but contrasting visions for the world's future. The European Union, born from the ashes of war, was built on the dream of lasting peace and unity. Over decades, it has evolved into a deeply integrated bloc, grounded in democracy, the rule of law, and a single market that connects over 400 million people. Its institutions, from the Parliament to the Commission, work to harmonize laws and foster cooperation among its diverse member states. The EU has played a defining role in shaping global trade, economic policy, and international standards. Often, it has acted in close partnership with the United States, forming the backbone of the so-called Western Order and influencing everything from finance to climate policy. BRICS, on the other hand, started as a simple economic acronym, but quickly transformed into a powerful political force. It brings together some of the world's largest and most dynamic economies: Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, each with its own unique system and priorities. BRICS is flexible, diverse, and united by a shared desire to reform global governance and challenge the dominance of established powers. Unlike the EU, BRICS does not require its members to share a common ideology or political system. It unites both democracies and authoritarian states, creating a coalition that is as varied as it is ambitious. This diversity is seen as a strength, allowing BRICS to represent a broader swath of the global population. Its recent expansion, welcoming Saudi Arabia, Iran, and other nations, signals a bold ambition to become the leading voice for the global South and to reshape the balance of power in international affairs. The EU stands as a symbol of the established global order, rooted in tradition and stability. BRICS, meanwhile, represents the emerging order, dynamic, rapidly changing, and eager to challenge the status quo. Until now, these two worlds have rarely overlapped. Their paths have run parallel, with little direct cooperation or integration, and often with competing interests on the world stage. The idea of EU members joining BRICS was once unthinkable, a scenario dismissed by experts and policymakers alike. But today, that era is over. The global landscape is shifting, and the boundaries between these blocs are beginning to blur in ways few could have imagined. How did Hungary and Austria reach this point? It's the result of years of discontent within the EU. Hungary, led by Viktor Orban, has long clashed with Brussels and sought closer ties with Russia and China. For Budapest, joining BRICS is a logical extension of its independent foreign policy. Austria, traditionally neutral, has faced economic hardship and now seeks pragmatic relations with all powers. A new government in Vienna argues that prosperity depends on global engagement, not just EU ties. Both nations see BRICS as a gateway to new markets and energy security. They aim to join by January 2027, pending approval, navigating the legal maze of dual membership. This is a calculated move to balance East and West. The announcements were choreographed for maximum impact. Hungary's foreign minister declared BRICS membership as a bridge, not a break, with Europe. The government seeks a unique partner status, though details remain unclear. Supporters hail it as sovereignty. Critics warn of contradictions with EU obligations. In Vienna, Chancellor Richter framed the move as economic necessity and a return to neutrality. Austria's trade with BRICS nations has surged, fueling the government's argument for diversification. The decision has split public opinion. Businesses are cautiously optimistic, while opposition parties decry it as a risky gamble. Early reactions from Moscow and Beijing are enthusiastic, welcoming the new direction. The world awaits the official BRICS response. The economic fallout is immediate and dramatic. Markets wavered, the euro dipped, and uncertainty spread across Europe's financial sector. Dual alignment threatens the EU's single market, risking regulatory fractures and unfair competition. BRICS aims to reduce reliance on the US dollar. Hungary and Austria could accelerate this de-dollarization. The potential for trade in local currencies, or a BRICS currency, is now real. Both nations expect investment and energy security from the East, but risk EU penalties and dependence on authoritarian regimes. Western investors may see them as unreliable, complicating their economic future. Navigating these risks will test their leaders' resolve. Politically, this move shakes the EU's unity to its core. How can the EU act as one when members join a bloc with its rivals? NATO faces new dilemmas, especially with Hungary's dual allegiances. The US must rethink its European strategy as cracks appear in the Western alliance. This could embolden Eurosceptic movements and create a multi-speed Europe. For BRICS, it's a legitimacy boost. Two developed economies joining expands its influence. The multipolar world is no longer theory. It's reality. The future of Europe's alliances hangs in the balance. This isn't just about politics or economics. It's about identity. For many, being European means upholding democracy and liberal values. Aligning with BRICS, led by authoritarian states, challenges that identity. In Hungary and Austria, fierce debates erupt. Is this sovereignty or a betrayal of progress? Supporters see a return to tradition. Opponents fear a slide toward authoritarianism. The divide is generational and cultural, deepening polarization. The question: can these nations straddle both worlds, or will they drift further from the European family? The answer will shape Europe's future. Around the world, experts are closely monitoring what many are calling a tectonic shift in the global order. The implications are vast, touching everything from international trade to political alliances, and the stakes have never been higher. As the world watches, analysts debate the potential outcomes and long-term effects of these changes. Dr. Evelyn Reed, a leading political economist, describes this moment as the most significant challenge to the liberal international order since the fall of the Berlin Wall. She argues that the current upheaval is rooted in a deep crisis of confidence within Western democracies, as old certainties give way to new realities. According to Dr. Reed, this crisis is not just political, but also economic and cultural, shaking the very foundations of the post-Cold War world. Dr. Kenji Tanaka, an expert in international trade, warns that countries like Hungary and Austria are at a crossroads. By seeking closer ties with BRICS, they risk losing the seamless access to the EU's vast single market, a move that could bring uncertain gains at best. The potential rewards are unclear, while the risks to their economies are immediate and significant. If these nations end up in regulatory limbo, their industries could face severe disruptions. Factories may halt production, jobs could be lost, and economic growth could stall. All due to the uncertainty surrounding new trade rules and standards. Professor Adewale Adebayo points out that BRICS has evolved into a truly global institution, no longer confined to its original members. Its growing influence is now forcing Western-led organizations to either adapt and reform or risk becoming irrelevant in a rapidly changing world. The global center of gravity is unmistakably shifting away from the traditional North Atlantic axis, moving steadily toward Asia and the global south. This realignment is reshaping economic, political, and cultural connections worldwide. However, the very diversity that gives BRICS its global reach also presents challenges. Internal divisions, differing national interests, and competing priorities could limit the bloc's ability to act decisively on the world stage. The prospect of adding EU members to BRICS may seem like a way to build consensus, but in reality, it could make agreement even harder to achieve. More voices at the table often mean more disagreements and slower decision-making. The bloc's greatest strength, its flexibility and adaptability, could paradoxically become its greatest weakness. If not managed carefully, this flexibility could lead to fragmentation and instability, undermining the very goals BRICS seeks to achieve. As the world stands at this crossroads, one question remains. Can BRICS truly act as a coherent and unified force in global affairs, or will its internal differences prevent it from shaping the future? Only time will tell how this tectonic shift will ultimately play out. We stand at a historic crossroads. Hungary and Austria's move ends the era of clear East-West divisions. The world is now multipolar, unpredictable, and interconnected. The EU faces existential questions: reform or fragment. The US must adapt, shifting from dominance to partnership. The choices made now will define the century: cooperation or chaos. The map is being redrawn by economic interests, not armies. We'll be here to track every step of this unfolding story.